Welcome to Fabulous Women Over 40, hosted by celebrity stylist Kara Allan. Join Kara as she interviews amazing women, sometimes younger and amazing men as well, in their 40s and beyond. Here's Kara with our Fabulous Woman of the Day.
Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to another inspiring episode of the Fabulous Women Over 40 podcast. I'm your host, Kara Allan, personal stylist and branding expert with over 22 years of experience helping women and men create powerful presences through their appearance. This podcast is dedicated to celebrating the incredible women over 40 and men who are redefining what it means to be fabulous at any age. Today's guest is a global powerhouse, a purpose igniter, and a walking revival. She's bold, raw, and real, and her mission is to love people back to life with the truth of God's grace and the fire of his purpose. I'm beyond honored to welcome the incomparable Pastor Kimberly Jones, also known as Real Talk Kim, bestselling author, media personality, mentor to thousands, and senior pastor of Limitless Church in Fayetteville, Georgia. Whether she's preaching from the pulpit, mentoring through her RTK inner circle, or dropping straight up truth on social media, podcasts, and national TV, one thing's for sure, when Real Talk Kim speaks, chains break and hearts awaken. If you're ready to walk in your power, rediscover your purpose, and remember exactly who God says you are, this episode is about to wreck and revive you in the best way possible. Let's get into it with the one and only Real Talk Kim. Hey! So excited to have you.
It is so good to be with you.
I'm so grateful that you had time to chat with me today.
Absolutely. I'm so proud of you.
I'm so proud of you.
We've been together a long time, baby.
Yes, 10 years to be exact.
Can you believe that?
No.
Where has time gone, for starters?
I know. It feels like it's long and short at the same time, if that even makes sense.
Exactly. That's beautifully put.
Right? Like, we've been through so much in such a short period of time. It's like, how are we still here? But we are, by God's grace.
Better than ever.
Yes, better than ever. Look, you're not our age, because I just turned 53 and you're next. So, hello.
Can you believe you're 53?
No, it's such a weird thing to say. Like 53?
Girl, when I tell you, I am stunned.
Yeah.
But I love my 50s. I'm loving it.
I do. I love being at the age where I can say what I want with tact and love, of course, you know, except for sometimes some people need to hear it with a little bit of salt, and you're going to get it, let's just say, and you're going to be okay. And we're all going to go on and be good.
Yes, we are. I love that.
So let's get into it.
Oh.
You often say that you're here to love people back to life. What does that look like in action? And where did that mission come from?
You know, I remember in 2006, I walked through a divorce, 18-year marriage ended, and there was no hope. Like I finally came to grips with, you know, this is it. This is where we're at. And no one in my family had walked through divorce. My dad was a preacher. We didn't believe in divorce. And one thing I discovered in that season was nobody's going to fight for you like you're going to fight for you. And I felt myself really wrestling with, man, I thought that, you know, especially the community, the church community, they're going to be there for you. And I just had all these expectations to be me.
Yeah.
So what would I do in a situation like this? And I remember one night laying in my bed and I was hurting so bad. I was like, God, just take this pain away from me. I mean, it just helped me get up out of this. I couldn't eat.
Yeah.
I mean, I was broken. I was shameful. I was beating myself with mom guilt from Morgan and Lincoln that I wanted to have a mom and a dad in their house. And here we are staring at this new normal. And I remember laying in that bed that night and I was all by myself and I was talking to God. And I said, it was almost like, I was like, take this pain away from me. And it was like, I heard the voice of God in my spirit, you know, it wasn't like an audible voice, but it was just this thing hit me. I can't take it away. You got to get up and walk away from it. And it was almost like a peace, but also, oh my gosh, like I gotta put in the work. And I remember that night, all the anger that I felt for people I thought would be there for me that wasn't there for me went out the window. And I realized that this was a journey for me and God. And I remember that night telling myself, God, I want to feel every ounce of healing. I want to go through all these emotions. And I want, if you ever do anything with me, let me be there for people like me. Take the judgmental spirit out of me. Cause we go through life judging people for things that we never walked through. And I was hurt. And I was like, God, get me to a place where I can be there for people like me right now. So that I can pull them out of the pits of their hell and despair, and let me love them the way you loved me through this. And that's where it came from. I love people back to life, because I believe that when you're in a place, a valley, and you're in a transition, nobody wants to get divorced.
No.
Nobody wants to walk through rejection. Nobody plans any of these things. Nobody wants to walk through hurt.
No.
When you find yourself here, when you find yourself at that place you never saw yourself, you're at the hem of his garment. And if you can just have one person that believes in you. And that's what I do. I live for that. I live to love people back to life. You have hope. If you've got a pulse, God has a plan.
Yes. I love that. And so that's basically like the moment that both broke you and birthed you at the same time.
Period.
Right? Like literally.
Literally, he broke me. I remember thinking, man, sometimes God literally breaks your spirit to save your soul. Because Kara, that thing that I thought was gonna, and there's been many, many occasions in my life where I felt like I'm not gonna make it through this, and I always do, and I always come out better. And God's plan's always greater than mine. And I make the plan, and then God is like, laughs at it. I got something even greater for you. It's gonna break you, but you're gonna come out way better.
Yeah, I've seen a little cartoon of like a little girl holding a little like a doll or a bear or something, and then Jesus, I guess it's supposed to be Jesus, is standing in front of her with this big bear behind her back, and she's like, "But I want it," and like she doesn't see what he has for her that's even better. Like
I think that's one of my favorite memes.
It is. So good.
So real. It is so real. Like God is never going to let what you lost be greater than what he's going to bring.
Exactly. And people need to understand that.
Even if we do it, even if we're the reason why we are in the position we're in, he still will use that mess as a message. He will turn those scars into stars.
Exactly.
But we got to put in the work.
Yes, we do. We have to have some messy action.
Yes.
For sure.
Messy action.
Yep.
You're dropping the gems today, Kara.
Well, because it feels like if we do anything, we don't know how it's going to turn out, or maybe we did something before and it didn't work out, so we're like, oh my God, I don't want to keep doing the same thing and it doesn't work out. Like, but have we prayed about it? Did we give it to God? Did we say, hey, this is my plan? If it's not your plan, then block me or stop it. We don't necessarily do that. We just sort of go off. Go off on our own.
But a lot of times when we're coming out too, when we are finding ourselves walking into that unknown, it is messy.
Yeah.
And we fall again and again and again. But it's every time we get back up again, we bounce back
a little higher. So speaking of that, for someone who feels like they've messed up, waited too long, lost too much, would you say that? What advice would you give someone who's listening that's like, man, I had like a long-term marriage and maybe I got kicked out, like they left me, not I left them, or like or a job that I was in and I thought I was gonna retire from it and they fired me. Like, what would you say to people who are experiencing those kind of things?
Man, I truly feel like that if you can get out of your head, if you can get to a place where you realize, God, as long as I ain't dead, you ain't done. Like, if you can get out of your head, stop looking back, stop living in the shoulda, couldas, and wouldas. You can't go back and fix nothing.
No.
But what you can build in front of you is so much greater than trying to drag that past, that shame, that guilt, that trying to give CPR to dead situations. It's always greater.
Yeah.
But you don't see it until you move.
No. It's true. If you're just sitting in the same place. There. Yeah. You can't do anything.
Sarah, I don't let myself stay there.
Yeah.
I came up with this quote this year and it's 1, 2, 3 Holy Ghost.
Yes.
You know, this weekend I probably said 1, 2, 3 Holy Ghost 50 times a day. Because we're going to go through stuff that we don't understand and we're going to want to, but instead you got to be 1, 2, 3 Holy Ghost. 1, 2, 3 Holy Ghost came about because the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy. But it says in Luke that we've been given the power to tread on scorpions and snakes and scorpions, and that we are going to win. Like, if we can get ourselves out of that place of, oh, man.
Yeah.
And just walk.
Yeah.
Failure's not failure unless you lay there.
Yeah.
You might have been in an 18-year marriage or a 30-year marriage and it's over. You're either going to live in, man, I wasted all that time.
Yeah.
Or you're going to look at it like, I know what not to do the next time.
Well, there's no such thing as failure. I feel like it's only feedback, because it's just telling you what not to do, like you said, the next time.
I do not believe that there's failure either.
Yeah. We all mess up.
Okay.
You know?
But it's getting up and changing. I think the problem is we get stuck in that, man, if I could have just done this different, or if I could just get an apology, I'll forgive.
Yeah.
But it's not.
Yeah.
It's just getting up and figuring it out as you go. I'm the queen of, I'll work the kinks out as I go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's in life. That's why I ain't been afraid. I get probably criticized the most because I've been married a few times. But at least I tried.
Right. Like, you didn't just say, I'm never doing that because I might fail. Like,
and now I'm living in the greatest love of bliss on the planet. Like, God has restored, and thank you, God, that I didn't let people put me in the timeout love box. Everybody wanted to. Everybody. Right. Who are you to say anything? Who are you? Oh, you and another husband? You know what? I lived and learned.
At least you tried, you know?
At least I tried.
You know? I mean, you've gone through those divorces and rejections and things, but you still show up in joy. So how did you rebuild all of that after the breakdown? Like, how did you get yourself out of that and not listen to the naysayers that were like, you've been married how many times now? You know, who cares? They're not living your life, but
you know what? Most of the people that are the loudest they don't even matter.
Yeah.
You know, I get people that'll sit and do 30-minute YouTube videos of me chopping my life up, and everything they say about me is a lie.
Oh my gosh.
The only thing they got right was how many times I've been married. You know, they don't know what happened in those marriages. They don't know that I wasn't pastoring until I was 41. Didn't even preach my first sermon until I was 41. They don't know that I was raised in a religion that said you get married. That's what you do. You have kids. They didn't know all those things.
And didn't do the research.
Right. I can let them hold me back, or I can 1, 2, 3 Holy Ghost. I believe that you got 3 seconds. When you hear something about you or someone comes at you, you got 3 seconds to let what they said about you get inside of you. When it's contrary to the word of God.
Yeah.
My Bible didn't say in Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans that I have for you, saith the Lord, plans to bless you and not harm you, give you a future and hope. There was no, if you get divorced, you're not going to be blessed. If you fail to that addiction, you're not going to be blessed. It was period. God's promises, yes and amen. I just got to put myself on that place. Yes. And so I've gotten really great at block. Yeah. I've gotten really great at, if something feels off, it's off. I've got really great at, I'm not letting what you say about me get in me. I've gotten really great about making sure that I am the loudest voice in my ear, and that it's God's word over my life. Yeah. I'm the quickest at when someone says something that is negative or hateful or gross about me, even if it was the truth in one season, I will rebuke it. I will out of my mouth say, I rebuke that word curse.
Right. Exactly.
And so I think that's how I've done it. I've just realized that God didn't make no junk. And before I was ever even a thought in my mother's womb, Kara, God already knew that I was going to be a rebel. God already knew that I was going to be rebellious. God already knew that I was going to be looking for love in all the wrong places.
Yeah.
And he also knew that at about 41, all my 40s, was rebuilding me, breaking me, rebuilding me. He knew that I was finally going to really find it in my last divorce, where I literally had responsibility on me of pastoring a church, and I couldn't react the way I did in the other relationships. And he knew that at 53 years old that I was going to be leading thousands and thousands of people to heaven. You know, at 36, I lost everything. I lost my credit. I lost my $500,000 house. I lost my Mercedes because I thought everything was about symbols and making it. And I lost it all at 36, thought my life was over. I didn't preach my first sermon till I was 41. I wrote a book with my special ed self in special ed my whole life at 42.
Right.
I still don't know where commas go. And now I'm on book 7.
That's crazy.
He knew that I was going to not give up. And that's why he kept saying, you going to walk through the valley of the shadow of death, but you going to keep bouncing back, baby girl.
Amen to that.
And so I keep remembering that. Every single time something hits me, I'm like, man, I made it before. I'll make it again. You will never see me fold. And if you think you will, it's at a laundromat.
I know I heard somebody say once that, like, when somebody says something, to say, that might be true for you, but it's not true for me.
Man, that's good.
Like, that's the ultimate clapback.
You know, that would really shut a lot of people down and shut your own voices down if you really would say things like that, because power is in your tongue.
Yeah, exactly.
Life and death are in the power of your words, not theirs.
Exactly. And in most of the voice that you hear in your head, it's not you. It's not you talking. You just don't listen. You have to be like, even to the voice in your head, that might be true for you, but it's not true for me.
Man, that's good, girl.
You know what I mean? It's just keep it moving.
That's actually a good title for this. It might be true for you, but not for me.
Exactly.
I also like messy action.
Yeah, take messy action. Got to jump out there and do it.
I love both of those, yeah.
That one I actually got from Flora. She's called Your Manifesting Bestie. She talks about stuff all the time. Like, you got to take messy action because, you know, sitting around don't do nothing.
That's actually a great sermon series.
Right? Take messy action. Exactly. So what's different about your current marriage that wasn't present in your previous ones that, you know? Man, I think I'm healed. Yeah. I think for so long, because I'm a go-getter, I'm a business owner of several businesses. You know, God's really blessed my life. And I think that I was taught the same way most women are, that you can't really have a marriage and be a boss, you know, that you got to choose, that you're too independent. And I think I believed all of that. Yeah. And so for 3 years before I ever met Angelo, I was literally every day saying, God, make me, because I knew I was going to be married. I'm like, I ain't living this life by myself. I need a man protecting me. I need a man loving the lights out of me. I want a best friend spend the night parties with every night. I've tried this long. Might as well keep trying. Right. And I allowed myself to really, I would pray, God, let me be the greatest wife or the husband that you're going to bring in my life. I got friends around me that were married, that were successful business women that loved their husbands so right. And I realized that, you know, God created women to birth things. And so I love this man like I ain't never loved a man before. I think if I probably would have been where I am today, I wouldn't have been divorced. But I'm so thankful. God gave me a do-over with such an incredible man that I love and honor. I love and honor him. You know, I'm the wind in his sail, the president of his fan club. I'm his escape and not his duty. That's so And great. I realize what you give, you get back. I build him up and he builds me up. He does. That's different. I love that, because I remember, I think I told you, watching you on one of your sermons where he was on stage and you were walking over and you were like laying hands on people and praying over them, and he was just there right behind you, like covering you in that. And I was just like, oh my God, that's so awesome.
And you know, Carol, that's what I always wanted. You know, with the last relationship, I was working at Bloomingdale's when I met him. Never dreamed in a million years I would pastor. You know, I was not living really right for God, singing on the platform, but not really sold out. Yeah. And in the 8 years of marriage, God opened the windows of heaven over my life, and it really destroyed the relationship because, you know, he couldn't handle it. He couldn't, he was everything that I thought was going to happen, you know, that you got to choose ministry or a spouse. But what Angelo has taught me, that when you marry the right one, they push you to heaven. You know, Angelo is the most righteous. He's just a good man. He's got good character. He's not out here pretending to love Jesus and not. You
We
know,
we don't need that.
Yeah, he wasn't in ministry when I met him, and yet look what God's done. And so for him to be walking behind me and covering me, and they ain't a pretend bone in his body.
No, that was so powerful. I was like, oh my God, I don't know if everybody else is seeing what I'm seeing, but I'm seeing it.
It was so cool because you sent me a text and you said, man, watching Angelo walk behind you and cover you while you were praying for people did something. And I had to go back and watch it.
Yeah.
And I just cried because I didn't know what I was doing.
It was so cool. I was crying watching it. Will was sitting here with me and I was just like, oh my God. I was like,
but you've been on this journey with me too, so you've seen it all, you know?
Exactly. And so it was a moment for me just watching it. It's like, if it's possible for you, it's possible for everybody else out there.
And you know what's so funny, Kara, is I remember when I met him at a restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And he wasn't in ministry, you know. In fact, he went to Dale Bronner's church and he just went, you know, to a service on Sunday, then went home. And you know, he wasn't out here slinging scriptures and preaching. And you know, I'm pastor of a church. I couldn't even imagine meeting someone at a restaurant and then fitting in my world. And when I met him, I remember I was driving to church one day and Mimi looked over at me and she said, don't you try to make that man a preacher. Don't you try to make that man fit into the church box of what they think, you know, ministry is supposed to look like. She said, you let him be.
Yeah.
And that set me free because it was like all of a sudden I'm giving God permission to work this thing the way he wants to work it.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to make it look like something that I was taught.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm so thankful because watching him, we've been married a year, June 14th. So we've been married a whole year, but we've been together for, you know, 2.5 years. And seeing him today out there loving on people on Sundays, and man, he's just evolved into exactly what he was supposed to be.
So cool.
Yeah.
So cool to watch.
He's not a preacher and he's a businessman and he's brought it into our church and raising up businesses throughout our building with people. I mean, who knew? Like I couldn't even have ever thought. Because God's it was so out of my understanding of what church was supposed to look like.
And God's plan is always the best. We don't even know. Don't even know.
And I hope when people watch, especially people that have been in my life 10 years, you know, that have watched my journey, because I am not a faker. Like I will tell it all. Like I put it out there. I put my own stuff out there before anybody else can.
Yeah.
I pray that if they see anything, and I really think that's what God's done through me and Angelo, is that it allows people to see if God can do it for me, he can do it for you.
Exactly. Like it's an amazing thing to watch, you know.
So don't you think sometimes we got to throw the list away?
Yeah, I think there's like a basic thing. Like for me, I wanted him to be somewhat familiar with me. I didn't want to have to get to know somebody all over again. I wanted him to love my kids like he would love his own, like because he has kids too. He would, and you know, he loved God, and that he was a good-looking man. I wanted a good-looking guy and somebody who took care of his health. I didn't want somebody who was like, you know, just I'm gonna be your nursemaid. No, we're not doing that until we're 80 or 90 years old. You know what I mean? So there were some basic things, and it was so crazy because we weren't even talking. I had blocked him because we'd had an argument at some point. I was just like, I'm done with you. We're never talking again. Like Taylor Swift, we are never getting back together ever. And then God brought him back, and it was just like, really? You know, a total 180. And I just was like, wow, this was not even anything I would have thought. The person I was trying to kind of work it out with, no. God was like, let it go. It was like the teddy bear. He had a better thing for me.
I love that.
And it was so awesome the way and not to say that we haven't had some issues. You know, we do go through counseling. We should pray together more. That's one thing I know. But we do go to counseling. We went to counseling before. We go to counseling after. So it's like you got to have that constant kind of little help here with someone, a third party, you know, that is someone who knows God too, that is, you know, gives you that biblical scripture about marriage and all that. Not just somebody who's like, well, you know.
I agree.
If it doesn't work, then just get divorced. You know,
No.
we don't want that.
No.
So, but we're committed to each other. And even though we have arguments, you know, we make up and we figure it out and we go on to something else.
Isn't that what marriage is about?
Exactly. You got to be committed.
Forgiven 1,000,000 times a day.
Exactly. You know, and you change. Oh, you're going to be falling in and out of love with the same person over and over again for years. That's what the process is, you know? So,
and you know what I discovered too is that you got to like them.
Yes. You have to like the person. Otherwise, it's like, what are we doing?
I think that was the key for me was I was realizing, oh my gosh, like I need to like this person. And I think it's the basics that you just said.
Mm-hmm.
You get those basics, they make sense.
Yeah.
Everything you said was necessary.
Yeah.
You get those things, you're good.
Yeah.
God can do the rest.
Yeah. Because he can build that. You know, you got to have the foundation.
Yeah.
And then, because the house is going to fold in on itself if you don't have the foundation. You can't, but you got to like the person. I mean, like who they are fundamentally. And not saying that there's some things about them that are going to rub you the wrong way, because they are. I mean, that happens with everybody. Friendships, whatever. We get annoyed with each other. You know, that's just the human experience. But you have to be able to be like, okay, I know this person is for me. They're loyal to me. They're not going to stray. They're not, you know, they're not doing crazy things that are going to endanger me or my family or whatever. So, you know, everything else can be forgiven and dealt with.
I love that. That's exactly how I feel.
Mm-hmm. So how do you balance being this amazing spiritual leader, a public figure, and now a wife, a mother, and still find time for yourself?
You know what? I feel like when you're walking in your purpose, it all falls into place.
Mm-hmm.
Like people ask me that all the time. And I'm like, I literally have allowed God to build a life in me and through me and around me that I don't even need a vacation from.
Right.
Like it blows my mind when you get to a place where you just let him, you believe in yourself.
Yeah.
And let him do what he wants to do in you.
Mm-hmm.
Everything falls into place. Like I never have to think about how am I doing here? I'm just doing and it's working.
Yeah.
Because it ain't about me anyway. It's about God through me. And he works all the details out.
It's true. And not overthinking it so much.
Yeah.
I think we get into this, you know, the rat race of just like, am I doing enough? Is this enough? Do I need to be here? I need to
Yeah.
It's like calm down, sit down, do a little meditation, do a little prayer, and you know.
And you know what else, Kara? I stay really happy. Like even when things aren't going well.
Yeah.
Because life is just life.
Yeah.
I will find a way to encourage myself. Like joy is a fruit of the spirit. Joy is not conducive with what's going on in my life. And I think that's the key.
Yeah.
Like when you choose to be happy no matter what.
Yeah.
It makes even the storms you have to go through easier.
Yeah. That's true.
You know, if I'm going to be broke, at least I'm going to be broke and happy. If I'm going to walk through my grown kids acting crazy, I'm at least do it happy.
Right. I mean, yeah. The joy of the Lord is our strength.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes you handle problems easier. It makes you, because you're not coming from a point of stress. Because you can't have joy and stress.
No.
You're easy to say, if I can't do anything about this, then I'm going to give it to God and I'm going to praise my way through it.
True. And I'm going to go off and be happy in the meantime.
Yeah.
Enjoy the day. Because at the end of the day,
I'm happy. Driving the car alone, I'm happy.
Yep.
Going to the gym, I'm happy. I just make a choice to enjoy it. And when I find myself getting in my feelings, I automatically say, man, I really got a great life. The fact that I'm still here, the fact that I'm healthy.
Yeah.
The fact that I got up this morning means I can do something about this.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly. And it's like you said, it's a choice. Like happiness is a choice, just like being upset and in your feelings is a choice. You know, you can learn to let things go or just live in that. And I think that's why people get depressed, because they can't see past that, whatever's happening right then. And they're just stuck there. And instead of like, okay, what does this mean in the grand scheme of things? I still have a house. I still have a job. I still have a car. I can still eat. And even if the car is gone, okay, well, we'll figure something out. You know, nothing is deathly the end of life, unless you are, and if you're not here anymore, there's nothing to worry about anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Like if you die, you ain't gonna know you dead anyway. Just
no, I mean, and it's just a transition to the our next
eternity,
whatever's happening. So it's like
incredible.
Yeah, like if you really read Revelation and everything that's going to happen after, it's amazing. Like,
amazing.
And I sit around when my grandfather was 95. I was like, oh my God, I'm half his age. So this means like, I still maybe have like 40 some years left. And what am I going to do at this time? He was healthy. He still had all his faculties. He's moving a little slower, but he still got up, put his nice shirt on and his suspenders and his pants. Like he was going somewhere every day.
That's
like
me. My mother's like that at 78.
I love that. Like, you're not dead. So, like, why are you over here like, oh, no, I don't
My mother lived with my dad for 52 years.
That's a long time.
And when he died 5 years ago, that woman sold her house, moved into a high-rise downtown where all the action was.
I love it.
Living.
I love it.
She goes to the gym every day with all her little girlfriends. And they work out every day, Monday through Friday. She's written a book.
I love
First book she's ever written. And when I call her, me and Angelo laugh because she's like, oh, I've just had the busiest day ever. And I'm like, what did you do, Mimi? Oh, I went and had coffee with some friends. My mother ain't never had a friend in her life until my dad died.
Oh my gosh.
Now she's got so many friends. She's over the social committee. She's on the social committee board at her building.
I love it. I
promise you, life is what you make it.
I'm telling you, like, you're not too old for anything.
I think she's got more of a social life than me.
Yeah, right? I mean, it's incredible. That's an incredible thing. So what's one thing that God's taught you about influence and visibility? Because you have millions of followers, millions. And so like that's a big responsibility, I feel like, because people are always watching, always judging, always saying something. So how do you deal with that? All eyes on you all the time.
You know what? I keep my heart really, really, really good. Like I always say, Lord, if there's anything in me, I always pray Psalms 51:10, create in me a clean heart, oh God, and renew a right spirit within me. And then I realized that other people's problems aren't mine.
Yeah.
So I make sure I know the influence that God's given me. And I know that if I allow bitterness or resentment or trying to retaliate online with all the hate that I get, then any person that is following that person that has come to know Jesus because of that person, right? If I say something against them that makes someone turn away from God because of a flaw in them, I'm going to stand before God on that.
Yeah.
So I never stoop.
Yeah.
Like, even if I want to retaliate, like the other day, somebody was saying something and I commented back. And my husband said, did you just comment back? Like, set the record straight with that person? I said, yeah. He said, go delete it. So I literally have people around me that hold me accountable too, because I am human, but I don't ever let that happen.
Yeah.
Like, I remember even when I was walking through my divorce and it was messy. And I never, ever made a statement. I never retaliated. I never used my platform. I've had people come against me. I've had somebody write a book about me.
Yeah.
Calling me Jezebel. I never ever said anything about it. I never told people not to. I realize that the people that God has for me, they know me by the Spirit, not by what they hear. And so if people hear it, they go, that's not my problem. So I take it very seriously that I keep my heart right, that I don't let nasty juju get in me, where I'm going to get in my flesh. And I'm going to always lead people to joy, happiness, and let them know that God ain't never forgotten about them. My goal is to make heaven more crowded and let people know, I don't care if you've been 10 times married, this one's going to be the right one.
The right one, yeah.
It's just, I love people the way they are. And then I let Jesus clean them up.
Yeah. Because how crazy is it that somebody would spend all their time, money, resources, energy to write a book about you?
Oh, honey, they come at me.
I
tell you, they come for me. They have never met me in their life. I learned more stuff about me that I didn't even know about myself. People believe it.
Oh my God.
And I'm just like, oh, well.
It's the worst. But one thing I did hear once, someone said, is what Sally says about Susie says more about Sally than it says about Susie.
It's true. And I always say haters are confused fans.
They are.
Anybody that's going to take time to talk about you is so jealous of something in you.
Something you have, they want. Whatever it is, your sauce or whatever.
But really, a lot of times people talk about you because if they talked about themselves, they would get more attention.
Right, because they're boring and they have no life. And
well, I don't let it affect me, and I lead people to Jesus, baby. I don't play about this platform. I know that God, I'm going to stand before God on these millions of people, Kara.
Right. It's true.
And I'm going to hear, depart from me, I never knew you.
Right.
You had millions and millions of people that I trusted you with, and you led them straight to hell because you were bitter. You were nasty. You were retaliating. You used your platform wrong. Every day, man, I'm like, if I ever get caught up in myself, if I ever forget about where I came from, if I ever start thinking it's about me and not you, I give you permission, God, to convict me.
Yeah. Yeah. You gotta keep going back.
Like I really love people.
Yeah.
I really, really love people. And so that's a huge story because I didn't love people.
Yes, I remember.
Now I really love people.
And that's an amazing thing. Like as a pastor and someone leading people to God, you have to love people. There's like, how else could you be in that position and not love people?
I remember I was on a show called Preachers of Atlanta on Oxygen. I didn't know what I was getting into.
I remember.
I just had gotten really, really sold my life out to Jesus for real. Was, put my foot in the ministry pool, and my dad was a preacher. And so I was going to carry a legacy. Never thought in a million years I'd pastor because I was really ratchet. And I remember I was on that show, Preachers of Atlanta, and I was getting raked over the coals. Christians were coming after me. They were saying the nastiest stuff to me. They were putting me in hell.
Oh my God.
Girl, when I tell you it was attacks.
That's crazy.
Like the meanest stuff. You couldn't even, I was like, man, these people really hate me. And I think God allowed that to happen so I could feel what it feels like.
Yeah.
When you're in a fight and the very people that should have been the hands of, I felt like the woman caught in the act of adultery. But I also felt Jesus getting down in the dirt and helping me get up.
Yeah.
And so I think that's when I really started loving people. I started actually feeling sorry for them. I was like, man, I was raised in ministry. And they're coming after me. So I'm kind of used to it because my dad saw my mom and dad walk through it. But can you imagine people that have never experienced Jesus experiencing those Pharisees?
That's terrible. And
they would never ever walk in a door.
No.
And they got to get healed and get louder.
Yeah.
So that they can see that Jesus loves you, man. And I'm showing you what Jesus. So every day I strive to love like Jesus.
Yeah.
Because of that.
And like the saying, what Sally says, it's like, why you're supposed to be the representative of God, of how he's supposed to love. He does love people, and you're over here slinging all this crazy stuff on somebody.
Girl, there's people on TikTok videos that I'm a witch because I love black and white checkered.
I've seen some of those.
There are people on there that say, oh, they've come up with some of the funniest stuff.
Some crazy stuff.
That, had the whole world praying for me because I need to preach repentance instead of talking about divorce. And all these people started coming to my page and trying to cancel me. And I've just walked through it. And now I process it and say, Lord, search my heart. Make sure it's not getting in me. And I keep it moving.
Yeah. That's exhausting. People are exhausting. Sometimes it's like, come on now.
Sometimes you're like, God, I love you, but you're people.
Yeah. Exactly.
But it makes me love the people that have never, ever experienced Jesus even more. The people that feel lost, the people that feel like unlovable because they've experienced a mean Christian. It makes me want to go even harder for them and speak up even more for God.
Right. Yeah. Because God is not like people. He is not a man that he should lie. Okay. So,
and if you look in the Bible, Kara, like the woman at the well, she's been married 5 times, living with somebody, even her spouse is 6.
Exactly.
Jesus knew that woman needed to experience the seventh man. He didn't run away from her.
Right.
The man laying at the pool of Bethesda for 38 years. Yep. He got up in a moment and walked. But what made him lay there for 38 years? And nobody came in. Even the man at the pool at the Kate's Called Beautiful.
Yeah.
Not one single person came and tried to help him up.
No, they were too busy trying to get in themselves.
Yeah. The man at the pool of Bethesda, in one day, everything was made pure. And he got up and walked, and God said, take your mat and walk so you don't come back here. I need you to get rid of everything that smells like your past so you don't come back. And story after story after story after story.
Yeah.
Of just people that went so wrong. Jonah was told to go to Nineveh. And he said, peace out. I don't want to go to Nineveh. Kill him. And then what did Jesus do? He said, fish, go follow Jonah. He's going to need transportation back where I told him to be in the first place. All of these people became some of the greatest revivalists in the planet. The people with the worst past created the best future.
Exactly. I mean, David is a huge one who was he was a man after God's own heart. Danced so hard he shook his clothes off, but then still did all that mess with Bathsheba and
killed her husband.
Right, and
had her
God
husband killed.
Still forgave him. And then Solomon was his son, who was one of the greatest kings that ever lived. So it's like, hello.
So I overdose on these stories.
Yeah,
because people are gonna break your heart.
They are.
God's gonna lift you up.
Yeah, and it's not even their fault. It's not even people's fault. They're just, they're not perfect. Like any, it is what it is.
And hopefully, they'll get healed through me.
Yeah,
that's how I look at it. Just
yeah,
because every single time someone does a video on me, I'll get like 10,000 followers from them. Like, you just gave me free publicity.
Right, exactly. It didn't work out the way you thought it was going to.
Maybe 200 people believed them, but there was thousands that came and followed me. That would have never known me if that person would have made a whole video about me.
Exactly. So it all works out the way it's supposed to.
Maybe you come to any of my pages and you're gonna get dosed with I get up. You're gonna get your butt up being hanging around with me. You're gonna get healed. You're gonna live your best life. You're gonna love Jesus so great.
Yeah. So what would you say to the woman or the women who feels they're like in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and they feel invisible or overlooked and like their best years are behind them? What advice would you give them?
Man, I did. I felt that, I felt like I was the black sheep of the family. And God's turned me into the goat,
Yep.
It's like every single woman out there, we all go through feelings where we feel invisible. I mean, we're moms.
Yeah.
We're wives. We're, out working. We're in the house. We really do have really the most thankless job on the planet. And we usually get the brunt of all the headache, whoever's angry takes that out on us in the family. And I think I would tell that woman, fall in love with Jesus. I know that seems so cliche.
Yeah.
But realize that this is how I fight my battles.
Right.
This is how I fight my battles. And I mean, learn to be your biggest cheerleader.
Yeah.
And stop thinking you're invisible. Stop overthinking everything. Go get your blood work done. You're probably low in estrogen. Go get you some what's that black stuff you told me to get? That black seed
oil.
Yeah. I mean, do some things that can help you in your 40s because you're changing.
Yeah. Or wild yam cream.
Wild yam cream. That's what you told me.
Yeah. Yeah, but black seed oil helps
every day.
Yeah. Well, a black seed oil will kill everything else that's wrong with you. Literally.
I think whenever when I started getting my blood work done and I started, realizing that the brain fog and, I had no testosterone left. I was all over the place. And man, what one little blood work did for me. I don't have hot flashes. I'm 53 in August.
Yeah.
I don't have hot flashes anymore. I'm not crazy. I'm not trying to kill people.
Right. Because it really is like a whole life change that's when it starts happening. And you're just like, you don't know what's going on. My mother didn't tell me anything. And when I asked her about it, she was like, I don't really remember. So I'm thinking either it was
mine.
I was like, it was so bad that you blocked it out, or it was nothing and you just, either way, that's no help to me.
Well, my mother told me I never went through it. And I was like, you had to, you're a woman. But then to come find out she had hysterectomy. And I guess.
Well, but then she still would go through some symptoms of it, because when you take that out, it's
couldn't tell me nothing. All I know is I'm laying in bed dying. Feel like I'm having an eternal vacation inside.
Right. Or your own little furnace, every 5 minutes.
You're in hell on the inside.
And I found that even like if I got a little flash of emotion about something, all of a sudden I would get hot. It was weird. Like I was like,
my ears would get hot. Oh yeah.
Freaking crazy.
I go every 3 months and get hormone replacement therapy. Mm-hmm. That's just changed my life.
Yeah. I have the patch and the progesterone.
Yeah, everybody's different. Everybody does things differently, and there's no wrong way.
No, because everything's not going to work for you the same way.
You really, ladies, you have to remember that you're not stuck because you're not a tree. You're stuck because you quit.
Right?
Move your thick thigh if you got to pull it, but move.
Right. So you talk a lot about, people getting emotionally healed. What's one lie that women tell themselves or believe that needs to be unlearned?
I'm too late. It's too late for me.
Mm-hmm.
I missed it.
Yeah.
I thought I would be so much further along than I am.
I've said that.
Nobody can love me.
Yeah.
That's all lies from the enemy. I was not a good mom.
Yeah.
If I would have done this differently, then my kids would have turned out better. We go through life with mom guilt.
Mm-hmm.
All of that's lies. You can start today.
Yeah.
And God has a propensity to take all the years you have left and shove all the purpose, all the joy into the years you have left.
It's true.
You will blow your mind if you'll get out of
your own way too.
Your own way.
Yeah, man. And this is our time. That there's never been a greater time to be alive as a woman, honestly, than right now.
I agree.
Yeah, because our mothers went through it, our grandmothers went through it, women before us. We couldn't even have our own bank account. You couldn't buy property. You couldn't do it, nothing without a man. you know,
my mom, when my dad got dementia, my mom didn't know one password.
Oh my goodness.
My mom had never paid one bill. They were robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Oh my goodness.
You know what that girl did? That girl went and sat down with a financial assistant. That woman went on YouTube University, learned stuff. She paid off all those bills in a year and a half.
Nice.
And now she's a boss. She educated herself. Yeah.
I love that for her.
She could have quit at 73 when he died.
Right. She's such a spitfire. I love that.
She wasn't
yeah.
I guess she always was.
It was there. It's just, I think sometimes when women, especially like our mom's generation, took that back seat to their husbands, their children, they didn't do anything for themselves. It was all about everybody else. And so when we come along and we're just like, no, I got to pour from my own cup. I got to pour into me. I got to, not selfishly, but I got to take care of myself because nobody else is going to do it. They're like, what is this? What is this?
Women feel guilty for that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
We feel guilty for taking care of ourselves. We feel guilty for putting ourselves first. If you don't learn to love you and take care of you, you can't pour into anyone else.
No. Nope. Can't pour from an empty cup. So,
girl, I have grown to love me.
Yes.
I think 50s has been so great for me.
Yep.
Because in your 50s, you just love life.
Yeah. Feels like a whole nother era of just, you really became who you were always meant to be, I think is what it feels like. Yeah. That's what it feels like for me. Like I was always this person, but all the stuff I had to go through to arrive here was, was necessary.
There's a scripture in the Bible in Romans 8:28, and it says that God's working all things together for your good. I think in your 50s, you see it full circle.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. What's one thing people would be surprised to know about you?
I'm funny.
Oh, you're definitely funny. And the funnier thing is, you're not trying to be funny. You're just funny. That's what's funny.
I think people, I don't know if anybody would be surprised at anything, Kara, because I tell everything.
It's so true. But like whenever you're on the morning calls and stuff, there's some stuff your facial expressions, just the off way you say it, it's like I'd be over here cracking up, like, oh my God. How many hour on the prayer call?
And it was so funny, one of the weeks I had called the fast for everyone. And so it was so heavy. The prayer calls were so life transforming and downloading. And then the next Monday I'll get up and I'll be like, we'll be joking and having fun. And I think I just let myself just be.
Yeah. And I think that's what happens when you're comfortable with yourself finally, and you don't really care what anybody else thinks, You
don't get mad at people anymore. You don't take things offensively. You realize it's not your problem, it's theirs.
Yeah, for sure.
Your heart's right. You didn't mean it the way they took it. You apologize, keep it moving. If they don't have in their life, oh well.
Yeah. It's like, well, they're missing out, not me, because I'm a whole ball of fun. I am the party. So if I leave your life, it's going to be real boring for you, but you'll figure it out.
What else I discovered in my 50s? I will forgive you, but I'm not dumb.
No.
In my earlier years, I believe that I just wanted so bad to, fix it and let them see who I really was.
Exactly.
Now I'm not like that.
No.
Now I'm like, just because I'm healed don't mean you still ain't toxic.
No.
So I unashamedly will love you, but you're probably not going to have that place in my life anymore.
Yeah.
So I realize everyone's not my assignment.
No.
So,
yeah. And sometimes people are committed to misunderstanding you no matter what you say.
They don't like themselves.
No, it's more about them anyway. They just want to hear it a certain way, behave a certain way, and you're just like, okay, well, so long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, good night. Like, I can't anymore. I can't. I don't have the energy for it. I just, I don't.
And really what comes out of your heart comes out in your body.
Yeah.
In your actions.
It comes out your mouth.
And out your mouth.
Quick.
And so if you really are living in a place where it's first thing in the morning, you're praying, your heart's right.
Yeah.
Holding on to unforgiveness. When that comes up again and it hurts, you forgive again.
Yeah.
You really cannot be messy.
No.
There's not one single person I know that's killing it, that's productive and fabulous, that have petty in their hearts.
No.
They might make it a second, but they won't stay there.
No. You got to have a moment to like let it out, and then you're like, okay, let me get back to business here. Because you have to be able to, for me at least, I have to be able to like process it. So that sometimes means like run around like a little chihuahua, even if it's just me in the house, like just getting it out. And then I'm like, okay, well, maybe it wasn't that way, or maybe it was this way. Like I have to do it in my own time. And then, but the processing time gets faster. Where it used to like drag on for a while. Now it's like, oh, okay. All right.
I think it's okay. Have a meltdown, then get up.
Yeah. I mean, we're still human. No, you can't just take things on the chin and be like, oh, okay, yeah, hit me again. No, we ain't doing that. We're done with that. So what's the next level that you think God is calling you to, and what are you going to have to leave behind to get there?
You know what's so crazy is I am the queen of, I will look back and I'll be like, oh my gosh, like, look at how everything's changed.
Yeah.
I don't look at it like I believe God is going to do this in my life and I'm going to have to, I don't.
Yeah.
I live so surrendered to God that I will literally look back and think, oh my gosh, like that's gone.
Yeah.
Like that's gone. That I was so dependent on that. And now it's not even anywhere in my path. And so I think because I live so surrendered that it usually is happening huge. And then I'm looking back going, whoa.
Yeah.
Because I remember, girl, there were seasons where I'd be like, I love traveling. I'd be in 5 states a week.
Wow.
I would be on planes, 4 and 5 planes a week.
Yeah.
And that was making it.
Yeah.
And I thought I will never not be there.
Right.
You know, I was addicted to ambition and letting people see that I'd made it. And now I look back and think, if you would have told me that I would be here, where I don't travel like next month we're gone every week, but you know, this month I didn't travel at all. I took it off for the conference. Like I'm not just taking any invite unless God tells me to do it.
Yeah.
And so now I look at my life and realize if I would have thought that I would have been here, I would have fought it. But because I'm so surrendered and I realize that his plans are greater than mine, that I'm not going to plan nothing. I'm just going to be in position and move. And that's what I do, girl. I will move on a drop of a hat.
Yeah.
I will create a new business at a drop of a hat. I am not scared of failure.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm just excited because look at what all's happened in the last year.
Yeah. But
it's because I got out of God's way.
That's true.
So he's writing a song and I'm just dancing along and it's awesome.
I love that. Get out the way. And there was that other scene, lead, follow, or get out the way.
Yes.
That, that's what we need to learn how to do.
And you know what else I discovered? That when you're so busy building and changing the world and your mission is really to make people's lives better. That is your intention. That is what you do.
Yeah.
Not for accolades, not for more money.
Right.
You just, God, I love people and I want to see them healed, happy, and whole and living their best lives. Great things happen for you.
Yeah.
Because as long as you're taking care of God's kids, he's going to take care of you.
Yeah. And like you said, he knows your heart.
Yeah.
So.
I would have stopped everything that I'm doing now because I wouldn't have felt qualified in my own strength.
Right.
But God. Yeah.
So what legacy do you want to leave when when all of us are gone, if the world's still here 50 years from now, what legacy do you want to leave where people are like, that Real Talk Kim, she was amazing?
I want to leave the legacy of when people remember Real Talk Kim, they remember I didn't give up because she got up. I want to be remembered that, man, I felt seen by her.
Yeah.
I want to be remembered as she gave me the courage to go after my dreams. I want to be remembered as this woman taught me what Jesus looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I hate it when I hear people, when I bartend at this restaurant, there's a couple of people that work there, and all the other employees hate to see them coming. And I'm just like, God, please don't ever let me be that person. I would just feel so crappy if people were like, oh my gosh, here she comes.
Me too.
That is so terrible.
Probably was her in my life at some point though.
I mean, I think we all have been that person at some point, but as a everyday thing, when people know you're coming and then just
it's because you're walking in healing that you recognize that.
Yeah.
And what a beautiful place to be that you're like, God, don't ever let me be that.
Yes. I don't want anybody to ever say that about me at all. Or if you say it to my face, and then I know that it's something I need to correct. You know what I mean? Not and literally the two that they talk about, they don't bother me at all because I don't engage with it. I just am like, yep, all right, you need a soda, ma'am? Here's a soda. You need to calm down. Just take this and go sit down over there or something. And they laugh and they respond okay, they get it. You're not going to steal my joy. You're not going to steal my peace. I'm not going to be over here arguing with you and fussing with you about stupid stuff.
We're not doing crazy. Y'all all in the same place, but you just took the power away.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
Take my peace and put it in your
There's a TikToker, I don't remember his name, but he talks about men and how they date and the bad things that they do, right? He's up to number 69, right? So whenever, the guy, he plays the girl saying something, and then he's the guy over here. So then he's like, the guy will say something dumb, and she's like, what? She's like, we are not going to do that. 0%. The audacity. And then he's still talking, and she's like, and you're blocked. It's the funniest thing. And it's like, you blocking people in real life too. He'll be talking to him. He's like, oh, you're done. Woo! I literally have spit that out to so many people because it's just like, this is, not in a mean way, but it's like, this is the energy you should have for people who are just not good for you. Just leave them alone.
It really is revelatory.
It is.
It really is life-changing.
And some people take it to an extreme, right? Because you still have people who are like, oh, I was married to this narcissistic, toxic person. But yeah, you chose them. So what is it about you that you need to fix? Because you're going to keep meeting them.
Heal from my divorces because I realized you played a part in it.
Yeah, you chose them and you stayed with them. So like, for long periods of time, and not guilting anybody because we've all done it. But at the same time, it's like, if the same person keeps showing up, you're the only common denominator. So you're the one that needs to fix something. They're just responding to your energy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you can't blame it all on them.
Yeah.
So
keep it moving.
Yeah, exactly. Like what was it you used to say all the time? A morning move. Morning move. Love that.
Kind of like messy action.
Yeah, exactly. You can't just sit there. I mean, you can have that moment, but then give yourself a time limit of like, okay, I'm going to feel this today. I'm going to scream it out, pound it out, whatever. And then I'm going to go on and get done what I need to done. Get out the bed, take a shower, put some clothes, put some makeup on, get myself together.
And I'm going to watch what I entertain. I think a lot of times you have to unfollow people in real life and on socials.
That is so true.
Like, you're not going to instill fear in me.
No.
You're not going to make me scared to death.
Mm-mm.
When I know that I serve a God that he got my back.
Exactly. And I think that's, one good takeaway that people need to remember. God, everything is always working out for you. God always has your back. I think
I always say when you love Jesus and serve Jesus, it always turns out all right. So if it's not all right, he's just not done yet.
Well, yeah. And the fact that I think we've been raised to feel like God is like this mean God up in heaven throwing thunderbolts and lightning down every time you do something he doesn't like, or you're always being punished. And that's so far from the truth.
So far from the truth.
A loving God. He loves you. He thought about you before you were even born.
And he don't sit and make you pay over and over again. He knows that you need to hit your head a few times.
Exactly.
And he still loves you.
Exactly. So I really, that's one message I can tell people all the time is like, everything's always working out for you. Period. God's got you.
Man, I love that.
You know what I'm saying? Like, let's believe the best about God and not the worst about what we've been taught.
So good.
Hello. So you have some great things going on. We got the conference this week. Can you tell everybody about the conference?
So we have every 6 months I do a conference, and it's just, if you want to come get refreshed, you come get in the water, So we have a dream conference coming up June 27th to 28th right here in Atlanta, Georgia at Hotel Coley. And the theme this year is Untamed. And man, this is the first time I've had in a hotel. Usually it's at my church, Limitless Church, which I pastor, Limitless Church in Fayetteville, Georgia, across from Whitewater High School. If y'all want to come see me every Sunday at 11:30. January we'll be back in the church. So it's just exciting. We got people from all over the world coming, and you're going to leave. People are going to leave with lots of new friends. And it's a conference where you don't feel uninvited. You don't feel like you don't fit in.
Right.
You feel more love than you've ever felt. And so we're going to get untamed. We're going to have a whole bunch of people flying home in the spirit.
And every time I've gone, I've gotten something. Like, I mean, and this will be my 11th time.
Can you believe that, Kara?
No.
I am so proud of you, man.
Oh, thanks.
Really,
it's been a journey for sure.
You raised great kids. You're taking this role as a wife. You're killing it. Just really, really
I appreciate it.
And you're the greatest at putting people's wardrobes together, and you're just a fashionista. Like, you really have crushed it. And you just
appreciate it. I appreciate that. Thank you for seeing
Y'all need to go watch too, because she's putting up videos right now of how to pack for the conference. And ideas for outfits, because it's fun. You come as you are.
Yeah.
And you just be you. That's the thing. Right. That's the thing that I want everyone to know is I am always going to be authentically who God created. If I want to wear a tutu, I'm going to wear a tutu.
Exactly.
If I'm going to wear a mohawk, I'm going to wear a mohawk. If I want to wear the craziest clothes on the planet with 15 belts, I'm going to do it. That's what I want you to do. I want you to come just as you are and not feel like you don't belong.
And you look fabulous all the time.
Oh, thank you.
For sure.
Now you say I look fabulous, but other people come on and be like, "Oh, you are too much. I choose to believe you, Kara.
I'm telling you, because it's like so many other people need to step it up. Okay, I see it every day. I'm walking around like, now what made you buy that outfit? Or what made you put that together? Like, I try not to, but it's like I can't. It's just there in my face, and so I'm like.
Now there are some things that I put on that people are like, "What were you even thinking?" But because I can,
Yeah,
I wear whatever I want to wear,
exactly.
and you don't even have to like it or you don't have to look at it.
Nope. Like, why are you even making a comment? I mean, I'm not like bashing people, but in my head, I'm saying I'm confused. Like, what's going on?
It's because you're called to help people dress.
Yes,
It's
yeah,
trying
and
to
I
get
want.
you. You're like,
I
man,
want
let
to.
me help you.
I want people to feel confident and look their best when they step outside of the house and not have given up on themselves. Because sometimes when I see people, I'm like, oh, they gave up.
You know
They
what?
just gave
And you know
up.
what's so funny, Kara, is I learned so much from your tips. I
Yeah.
learned about how to clean satin shoes. I learned like
Mm-hmm.
you really give some really great tips. And people that are wanting to evolve into more,
Yeah.
maybe you just allowed people to put you in a box and you dressed it up and called it home. You're so good at helping people.
Yeah.
And you're so fun and loving and you're not intimidating.
I try not to be.
Yeah. So I think everyone should definitely be subscribing to what you're offering because this is
Yeah.
really awesome.
Well, thanks. I struggled with it myself, and when I figured out how to do it for myself, I figured, some other people might need some help with this too, because I was a little nerdy and not very confident. And when I figured out I could put outfits together and I started walking in that, then people started responding to me
And
different. So
I
I
love
was
it
like,
because you do virtual. Like you'll even just sit and help them
mm-hmm.
virtually. Like you don't have to be in the same city. Like you really
No,
are onto something.
I love it. It's my life's passion, honestly.
Yeah.
So in your conference, we have themes for every day. So
Yes.
Friday is camo.
So Friday, come as you are. I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna, of course, be wearing camo the whole weekend just because I am untamed.
Right.
And I lace up your boots, put on your backpack. But you can wear what you would normally wear that you want to wear forever.
Yeah.
But the first day is I'm being, camo jeans. Friday night is all white party. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll have all kinds of great stuff going on all day Friday. Everyone's included. And
Yep.
then we leave at 4:00, go back to our rooms or go back to our houses, change into our white. And then that
Mm-hmm.
night we're having a whole white party.
So
And it
cool.
starts at 6. And then we have a party afterwards, just DJs and all kinds of stuff. And then Saturday is all camo
Mm-hmm.
and pink camo, hot pink camo, gray camo, brown camo. And we're coming up in there with I got a lion, a real colorful shirt that says
Mm-hmm.
untamed on it. And
Right.
we're just gonna be we have testimonies of women coming in that literally leave set free because they literally got out of their comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
And now their whole world's changed because
Yeah.
ain't nothing like being authentically who you are that makes you.
Yeah. And it takes some time, I think we go through so much stuff in our life, and a lot of it's spent uh, recovering from things, right? So, but that's meant to. What do they say? Pressure creates diamonds.
Oh,
Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you were not under all the people in the Bible that had to go through some things that were used by God. They didn't use the people who were perfect and whatever. They used the people who were flawed, and so you have to understand. I'm a diamond.
yeah.
I'm a diamond.
I'm
I'm a
flawless.
10 carat.
I'm flawsome.
Exactly.
What's so funny is I think women are so quick to compare themselves and we walk into a room and think everybody's looking at us and ain't nobody looking at us. They're struggling too, and I think that's one of the things God's called me to is
Yeah.
just be you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, be fun. Nobody's judging you. It ain't what you wear, it's how you wear it. And it all
Yeah,
starts with God confidence.
it does.
Confidence.
Yes. And even Stacy London, who was my mentor, and I worked for her for some time, that was from TLC. They have a new show, and it's called Wear Whatever the F You Want on Amazon Prime. And it's so cool because it's literally what
I need to
styling is.
go watch that.
Oh, it's so good. And it's literally to me, it's how styling should be with people. Like, you let them go through their own little process and then pick out the things that they really thought they wanted. But then when they tried them on, it's like, maybe this isn't me. And they come to, a more authentic place of what they want their clothing to be. It's so good. I was like, I love it. It's so good. But so people can still get tickets to the conference, right? And they can do virtual if they can't make it.
Yes.
So it's Friday and Saturday, right?
And then Sunday we have baptisms at Limitless. So we'll have 100 people getting baptized. It's gonna be so much fun.
Oh my gosh.
It's in the building at Limitless. But you can go to realtalkkim.com. That's my website. And just scroll down the page. It's so easy to navigate. And just push whatever flyer you want more information about. And you get virtual and you go back and watch the virtual as much as you want.
Yep.
Anytime you want.
Yeah.
And but get in the room if you can.
So you click on itinerary and it's at the very top.
Yeah.
The Real Talk Kim.
Really, even whenever you go right to realtalkkim.com, it actually pops up.
Okay. That's right. There was a pop-up.
Yep. You just push that and you go right to if you want virtual or you want to come in the room.
Yes. And then all of the other places that you're going to be in the world are on your itinerary.
realtalkkim.com.
You can go see you wherever they are.
And I have a free app, like the same app you're watching this on right now. You can go right back to that store. You found this one and download Real Talk Kim Go. Real Talk Kim Go on the go. Real Talk Kim Go. And right there, you can watch morning prayers. I do them every morning at 8 a.m. on all my social pages. You can get in the inner circle. You can find out about the church. You can get masterminds. You can go to my store, which I, create clothing. All of that's on the app. And I also send you out notifications throughout the day.
I love it. And we can find you on every social media as Real Talk Kim everywhere. So that's Instagram, Facebook.
And if you're going to subscribe to anything, subscribe to my YouTube channel, because that's where I go live all the time.
Yeah.
And you watch all my podcasts and everything there, which is really
cool. And you have a podcast. So talk about your podcast.
My podcast is Real Talk Kim, and we just talk about everything.
Yeah.
We talk about everything, life. It's just really a great podcast. You watch it on YouTube or Spotify and anywhere podcasts are played.
Yep. And you're on TikTok too as well.
Yep, Real Talk Kim.
We've had the best conversation. It's been so great. It's like talking to an old friend. Like it is. Yep. Love that.
Family at this point.
Yes. So we have to have a follow up, next year or sometime in the future, so we can follow up. And do you have any new books coming out? I think you had a new book, right? Isn't there a new book?
Well, I'm working on one right now that should be out before the end of the year. It's called Hush Until You Heal.
Oh.
And Hush and Heal. And that's coming out. But I have, journals. I do these all the time because we have these calls. I just had a brand new book come out called Unstuck. And it is, you can get this on Amazon, anywhere books are sold. And it's 1 page a day, Kara. And it's literally how to get unstuck. And I give you how to do it. And I do it through stories. And so anybody can read it, because a lot of people don't want to read books, but you can do a page a day.
Yeah, exactly.
And in 90 days, you're going to be free.
I love it. Well, I love you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
It was awesome as always.
I want to see you in a couple of days.
I know. I'm looking forward to it. And our husband's meeting, because they haven't met before. So that's going to be
I'm so excited your husband's coming.
I know.
There's a lot of husbands coming.
I love that. I think it's going to be just a great time. A great time of healing and friendship and fun. And it's going to be awesome.
I agree. Well, I love you. And I'm praying traveling mercies.
Yes.
Y'all go catch her videos where she's teaching y'all how to dress for the conference.
Yes. And thank you for catching us another episode of Fabulous Women Over 40. Catch us next time. Ciao.
Thank you for joining us today. Please subscribe so you won't miss our next conscious conversation with Kara and her fabulous guests. Follow Kara on social, on Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, Clubhouse, @Kara Allan. And connect with her on her website at karaallan.com. Also, leave a review if you enjoyed the conversation. Thanks again, and see you next time.